Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today I'm doing something I probably should have done before the tournament started, and that's just looking at the round one matchups and going through and saying, nope, this one auto wins. So that's my plan today, and well, you're gonna see. So Shadow versus Geek. Shadow's a terrible power. Shadow has no redeeming factors, so that's going to be an auto advance here for Geek. Um, I, same with Macron versus Kamikaze. It's not that Macron's terrible; it's that Kamikaze is so much better. So Kamikaze, that's moving on. We're gonna keep going here. See, there's a lot that I like, but we need to let a lot of stuff play out. Um, it's not that powers are terrible, right? I wouldn't be doing this if there were a lot of these auto wins. But I think that there is something here to go through and say, yeah, there's some we can just kind of clean up and say, hey, yeah, we got this. Um, ooh, loser versus loser versus antimatter. I want to see that play out actually. Demon versus filth. That's a mess of a mess. Do. So there's a lot here that I like, and Xenophile Assessor, Graviton, Warp. Yeah, mediocre powers there. Love versus Filch and Diplomat. Chris. Double. Sting. Yeah. See, so many of these, I'm like, I still want to play it out. I want to see. Oh, yeah, Genius. Genius has like nothing redeeming about it. I mean I like the alt win, but I just I'm not gonna go there. Remora versus Judge. Again, I like both powers. I like Judge, but Remora is going to come out of that one clean. Um, ooh, I feel like I know I've ranked Reincarnator versus Fodder, and I know there's an answer to it. I'm gonna have to play it out. Huh. Oh yeah, here Void versus Pacifist. That's a very easy sweep for Pacifist. Uh, Same here with Porcupine versus Masochist. Again, it's not that Masochist is bad. Alternate timeline Masochist is better. Also, Human versus Calculator. I like Calculator. Human just way, way, way better. So that's a nice clone. Clone in mind. Yeah, clone's better. Clone is all better. Mine maybe has better artwork, but that's about it. Hmm. So even Hate has a potentially winnable matchup against Rack. We'll see. I can tell you that. Well, that's going to be an interesting round two matchup there too. Uh, I can tell you for my money, Sniveler. Sniveler is going to beat out Cryo. I just have a tough time with Cryo. So Seeker, also way better than anything original Grumpus has to offer. And yeah, that was less than I thought. So with that, let's keep going. We got Invader versus Hertz. That's going to be our first one here. So we'll be back in a moment. All right. So I was looking back through everything, and my text of Hertz, because Hertz is a new one, is completely unreadable. So I'm going to have to just advance Invader based on everything. With that, we will go to Masochist, alternate timeline versus Will. So Masochist, alternate timeline, and Will. All right, let's pull up Smart here. Okay, Masochist, alternate timeline. Very similar art to the original. Very creepy art. Will, I'd almost say beautiful in its own way. And yeah, again, art, it's subjective. I know people who are massive fans of Masochist art, but for me, the art points go into Will. The Wild, let's start with Will. Yeah, that's a quick way to find nothing. I know, great video here. Let me pause. All right, now that I'm at Will, Will's Wild. As the offense, when you draw a player's color from the Destiny deck, you may have an encounter with that player in any system, not just his or her home system. That's okay. That's I would rarely say that's good, because you're just targeting somebody who's more likely to put up a defense, and I think that makes it tougher for you. Masochist Wild. During the regroup phase, choose a player other than the offense. That player retrieves one ship from the warp instead of the offense. You cannot use this flare if the offensive ships are all in the warp, captured or removed from the game. Again, this is not how you make a friend at the expense of making an enemy. I think this one's better than Will, but I don't think it's like way better than Will. So I'm gonna give the point to Masochist here, but let's go to Power Text. I've realized we gotta do Power Text before Supers. Masochist, you have the power to love pain. At the start of any player's regroup phase, before the offense retrieves a ship from the warp, use this power to win the game. If you have lost all your ships, lost ships include those in the warp, those removed from the game, and those captured by other players. Your ships cannot be removed from the warp or prevented from going to the warp for any reason during the game. All right. Will's power is you have the power of choice. As the offense, after you draw from the Destiny deck, use this power to encounter any alien on any planet of your choice instead of encountering the alien mandated by the drawn Destiny card. I like the flexibility of Will, and I think that actually does more than just the ability to win the game in a different way. So, Will is getting the points there. Let's talk Super. The Will Super, you may look at any one other player's hand before deciding who to encounter. Knowledge is power after all, and card knowledge is immense. Masochist Super, during your regroup phase, send one of your ships to the warp instead of retrieving one. I think I like that more. Right? You have a power, you have an ability here that is actively helping you win the game. So I'm going to give that to Masochist. All right, we are in a 2-3 rundown here. We've got the Will at 3, Masochist at 2, flavor text and timing window left open. So, again, let's do timing window. Masochist works in regroup, and really only regroup. It is as any player. It's mandatory. Will works in Destiny. It's technically mandatory, but I do call it optional because you can just follow what you're given. It's main player only, though. And I think just for that standpoint, the timing window's got to go to Masochist. So we're all tied up going to flavor text on Masochist. The flavor text. The Masochists derive pleasure from experiences that others would describe as pain. However, some alien species suspect it's really a religious ritual to bring forth the Masochist dominance in this universe. Will, on the other hand, arising on a cold and barren asteroid, the Wills gave no thought to legal niceties in their relentless struggle to capture the faint rays of a dying star. Unfairly charged with preying upon the weak, they wish only to find locations in which they may spread their solar membranes unopposed. Yeah, that goes to Will. It's more evocative. It paints a picture. I connect to Will just based on that history. So, Will moves on. 3-4. Okay. Now let's do Invader versus Will. That's always the way here. Okay. So, we've got Will. We've got the Invader. And, some might say the Invader's here only by default. And, I mean, you're probably not wrong. But, it's tough. I love the blues, the bluish purples that are on Invader. Those are just colors that you just don't see, and to me they're exciting. Will has cool artwork. The like space butterfly, stingray. It's a more beautiful creature. But Invader has colors that speak to what it is. So I'm giving the point to Invader. That's where I'm at here. Okay. We kind of know what Will does. Well, we definitely know what Will does. Invader. We're going power first, before any flares, before anything else. So in game setup, shuffle the 3 Invasion Destiny cards into the Destiny deck. These Destiny cards allow you to have an extra encounter when drawn during the player's turn, another player's turn. After you have an extra encounter due to an Invasion Destiny card, the player who drew it then gets another encounter. You have the power of Invasion as a main player. After an Invasion Destiny card or Destiny card of your player color is drawn, you may use this power to discard your entire hand and draw a new hand of 8 cards before having your extra encounter. Only use this power once per encounter, right? I like Invasion. I like Invader better than Will. It gives me more turns, more chances to win, and new hands. Yeah, let's look wilds. So the wild will let me kind of choose to attack whoever I drew wherever. Invader wild, at any time discard your hand to draw a new hand of 8 cards. Afterwards give this card to the invader or discard it if the invader isn't playing. I mean, a new hand is nice. And if I give the point to invader, invader's moving on. So I'm giving the point to invader. But we're still going to play this out. Super. During an invasion encounter, you may send ships from the warp into the encounter. If the ships survive the encounter, they do not return to the warp. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I like that better than well. Flavor text. Let's see what the history flavor text is. Originating in a place beyond space and time, the invaders have slowly eroded away at the barriers between there and here, planning their invasion of our universe all the while. Now, at last, their time is at hand, and they have begun tearing their way through the veils that remain, popping up in an instant to wreak havoc on everything they find in this new, unnatural place. Boy, that's scary. And, Will paints a picture. I like Will better. Invader makes me feel like Species 8472 is coming. That's a good Star Trek reference there. And, boy, the flavor text on Invader is really good. Will's just one of the best that I've come across. The timing window is basically the same. So it's a wash. They both get a point, or neither gets a point. Will's going down. Invader's moving on. 5-1. Okay. That was brutal. I thought Will was going a long way in this. I did not think Invader was going anywhere. Ooh. Geek versus... No, sorry. Got to do Wormhole versus Sorcerer first. All right. Wormhole versus Sorcerer. We're going art first, like we do. Sorcerer, really cool. 4 hands. Little Doctor Strange-esque, if you want the Marvel reference there. I like it. Classic power here. Looks cool. Wormhole is evocative of Dune, which I don't blame the designers for doing. I like it. There's a certain mystique here. Cool colors. I would argue Wormhole's a better piece of art, but Sorcerer's a better representative of the name. I look at that and I go, yep, that's a sorcerer. I look at this and I go, I have no idea what that is. So that's why I'm going sorcerer. All right. Wormhole. Wormhole's power. You have the power to translocate as the offense or as an ally when committing ships to an encounter. You may use this power to commit your ships from the warp and or from your colonies. As a main player, whenever one of your allies commits ships to the encounter, you may use this power to allow that ally to commit those ships from the warp and or from their colonies, which is really cool. I like that power. That's something I would definitely play. The Sorcerer, on the other hand, is main player after encounter cards are selected, but before they're revealed. You may use this power to switch encounter cards with your opponent so that they reveal your card and you reveal their card. Sorcerer, much simpler. Much more streamlined. Basically, it's, do I want to play the card in front of you or the card in front of me? Do you think I'm going to switch? Do you not think I'm going to switch? I love the mind game with Sorcerer. And to me, Wormhole, cool. Sorcerer, better. All right, let's look at the wilds. Sorcerer wild. When the sorcerer is not the main player, before cards are selected during an encounter, you may force the main players to trade their alien powers. And there's some other stuff there, but that's just cool. The wormhole. As an ally, after you commit one or more ships to an encounter, you may retrieve up to the same number of your ships from the warp and add them to the encounter. This may result in you having more than 4 ships in the encounter. Well, that's cool. Nothing's beating the Sorcerer Wild. So, just like a best of 7, I have now decided we're going to end it there, and Sorcerer has won 4. Nothing. Okay. So Sorcerer now gets to play Geek. And Geek... Well, Geek's a new power. This is going to be... this is going to be interesting. I think I know how this is going to go, but I'm going to let it play out. That is for sure. So, let's go look at the art. Okay, let's not go look at the art. All right. Geek. Oh, boy. That sure looks like a geek. Even has the little loser keychain. And probably like 7 other good cosmic references. Wow, two-faced, 3-eyed, brain sneaking out there. Yeah. That is the geek. I mean, well, you're definitely getting the artwork point. I mean, the Sorcerer stood out. But, yeah. Geek Wild. Now remember, Sorcerer Wild is letting players trade powers. Geek Wild, sorry. If another player would win the game, say aloud the name of a card that would change the outcome. If any player has it, they must give it to you. Otherwise, you have 30 seconds to find it. If you are given or find the card, play it. Ooh. Ooh, that's tough. Sorry. There, the Geek Wild. But I think as much as I like a flair that can save the game, the Sorcerer Wild has a bigger impact on the game. Now let's look at supers. Actually, let's look at powers. Okay, the Geek. As a main player, after the defense is determined, use this power to force your opponent to secretly draw a random unused alien. If they draw an alien with game setup text or one that is not allowed in the game, they remove it from the game and draw again. Then that player reads aloud its short power description. That's this upside down, like knows too much for a geek. If you correctly guess the alien's name in one attempt, you either gain the sheet under your control as your buddy or discard it. If you guess it is incorrect, your opponent chooses to either give it to you as your buddy or discard it. You use the power of your buddy in addition to your own power. Before you would gain a second buddy, remove your current buddy from the game. So basically, you have the power to have double powers. You just have to guess for it. The Geek is for veterans and know-it-alls. And while I think Geek is really cool, because it is, that's a really cool power. Sorcerer, that's going to come up more. All right, let's go to the flavor text. We'll come back to super. All right, Geek's flavor text here. Taking their love of the cosmos to an uncool degree, the physically unremarkable geeks huddle together in the safety of their interests. They have studied the nuances of every known alien species, desperate to find weaknesses, desperate to perhaps be more like them, but mostly just desperate. Oh, that's funny. That is very funny. Sorcerer, on the other hand, Sorcerer says, over eons, the clan of sorcerers studied the cosmic flow and learned to channel these tides to their own needs, beginning with minor alterations in the probability patterns of matter. They progressed to transportation of objects over great distances. Undaunted by occasional backlash of fate, they even now are humming the incantations of mastery. Went weird. I like geek. Geek is just funny flavor text. Good. It made me laugh. Geek's power is destiny. It's mandatory. Sorcerer's power is planning phase, but it's optional. Sorcerer gets the timing window bump. And just so you know if there was a chance or not, we'll look at the superpowers here. Sorcerer, you may use your power as an ally, switching the main player encounter cards. Geek, before you gain a buddy, play this card to keep up to 5 buddies at a time. If you lose this card, choose 1 buddy to keep and remove the rest. Geek would have had a chance. That's much cooler. So, in a 4-3 decision, Sorcerer has defeated the Geek. I had a feeling that one would be close. Like, and did I need to do the last bit? No, but I did it anyways. All right. Invader versus Sorcerer. Invader definitely wins the artwork. That's much cooler artwork than Sorcerer. Sorcerer wins the power text. Invader wins the flavor text. Timing window is basically the same. But, yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's sort out the rest. Wild. Swapping powers. That's tough to beat. Invader. Invader Wild. At any time, discard your hand to draw a new hand of 8 cards. Afterwards, give this card... Yeah. No, that's going to Sorcerer. Sorcerer gets the Wild. Super Invader. During an invasion encounter, you may send ships from the warp. If the ships survive, they do not... Yeah, okay. So you can use ships from the warp. Cool. That's great. But... what does Sorcerer have to counter? You can use your power as an ally, and that just always makes you better. Sorcerer wins 4-2. Okay. I think that's where we're going to call this one. I think we have gotten to a 4th round match. This is going to take a bit, but we have a 4th round match. So stay tuned. We're going to keep it going, and we'll make it. All right. So next time, probably take out the top part of this. Get a winner from these, from Worm, Kamikaze, Horde, Sadist, Alternate Timeline, Cudgel, and Maven. That'll get us to another 4th round match. And then after that, we've got Butler, Converter, Delegator, Changeling, Animal, Magician, and Tripler. So those 7 will get another match here. And then we will continue narrowing. All right. Alrighty. Thank y'all. Appreciate your time. Till next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care. Bye bye.